Waterhouse Field is one of the most famous fields in the state of Maine and even New England. Over the past 10 to 15 years, the facilities have started to worsen. Some people don't believe renovations are necessary, and others don't understand the plans. There has been a lot of talk and effort throughout the city to try to renovate Waterhouse Field. The bleachers are in very poor condition, as well as other parts of the facility. The goal of this video is to inform the public of the state of Waterhouse Field and the plans to continue its rich history. Alright, so I'm here with the Athletic Director, Mr. Walton, to talk about how different sports will be affected by the Waterhouse renovation. Alright, so first, how will some sports seasons be affected, where the location of the games will be, and the Lobster Bowl?
Well, the sports that are currently playing at Waterhouse are going to continue to play at Waterhouse, which is football and soccer and lacrosse. How it will affect another sport will be field hockey, because field hockey would allow us to move from Dorn Field to Waterhouse Field. The other impact would be that the soccer and lacrosse will be able to play on regulation fields as opposed to the smaller fields they're playing on now. As far as the Lobster Bowl, that's kind of a up in the air type of thing, because as we go through this renovation process, we don't know yet what we're going to get. And what I mean by that is the Lobster Bowl is very much dependent on the capacity of the stadium that they play the game at. They've played there for the last 25 plus years because it's such a large stadium.
What do you think the capacity will be?
Right now, at this time, I'm very uncertain. That's kind of where we are in the process, talking with school board members and superintendent, and ideally we'd love to keep the capacity that we have. It would be able to attract a lot of great events, keep the Lobster Bowl. I've already spoken to the Maine Principals Association. They'd be interested in using Waterhouse for state championship games. But again, that's very dependent on the capacity.
Alright, so which sports in Biddeford High School do you think will be most affected by the renovation, either positively or negatively?
I don't think any sport would be impacted negatively. We did but I just mentioned one nice thing for soccer and lacrosse is that they'll be able to play on a regulation federation field. And probably again the biggest impact would be on field hockey, which would get to go from a grass surface to a artificial surface, which if you've ever seen field hockey, and I know you have, yes. Field hockey is going in a direction where no one plays on grass anymore. It's not the same game. Mm-hmm. So that would be huge for field hockey because it sort of would even the playing field.
So you mentioned the field being regulation. How much would the field need to be expanded for that?
I don't have the exact dimensions, but I would say you're looking at at least 10 yards. Whether how much would come from one end or one side, or how much would come from the other, that would all be part of the renovation plan.
What are some challenges that sports have as the facility is now?
Well, just quickly mention it again would be the field size for those sports. But another big challenge on natural grass is field conditions. We're not able to utilize Waterhouse Field all summer long in preparation of the fall season. Another challenge is inclement weather. We've been fairly lucky, but a great example would be, we have a Friday night football game and they're calling for rain. And I get those people saying, well, football plays in the rain. I mean, unless it's really bad, we should just go ahead and play. But what they're not considering is that at 10 o'clock the next morning I have a girls' soccer game. Yeah. And so I don't want to call a football game off just because it's raining out. And the flip side, I don't want to create a situation where tomorrow morning the soccer team is now canceled because the field is this mud bowl, which, as you know, this year at the end of the season, we turned Waterhouse into a mud bowl. Yeah. Had that happened in September, we would have had some big problems moving forward.
All right, so I'm here with Superintendent Ray to discuss the Waterhouse renovation. So, when is the renovation expected to take place, and how long will it take?
So right now we're in the middle of the process of completing a field usage study for the entire city of Biddeford. The school committee asked the administration to look at all the facilities in Biddeford while working on the Waterhouse project. One of the things they want to make sure is that all of our playing surfaces are equitable for all student athletes, and thinking that having a discussion with the public about all the facilities at one time might be a better process.
What are some setbacks that could occur in this process?
I think some of the setbacks that could occur, Certainly, we still have to gather public opinion about Waterhouse Field and all the fields in the city about what the residents think will be the best alternative moving forward. Ownership of fields is still in question. The city owns a lot of the facilities in town, and the school department owns only a couple, Brother Hebert Field and our middle school fields, and then Waterhouse is owned actually by the Waterhouse Commission and leased to the city. So ownership can be a setback, and certainly funding can always become a problem.
What is going to be the same with the facility?
So with the facility, we'd be looking to, if Waterhouse were to be renovated, the concession stands would remain the same. Basically the same layout of the field in the same direction. Lights would be, they'd be new, but they'd be about the same, and really there's just the plot of land is about the same with a whole lot of improvements.
Okay, and what is going to be different?
Okay, so the differences would be significant if approved. We would be looking at less capacity. That's a stadium that has 6,000, that holds 6,000 people, and that may not be the need that we have anymore. We wouldn't have end zone bleachers. We would be looking at new lights, new scoreboards, new press box, and hopefully an upgrade of visiting and away locker rooms and bathroom facilities.
Okay, saying all of that, what do you think needs the most attention of those things?
The most attention is bleachers and lights. The bleachers are in tough shape. We've shut the end zone bleachers down. We have several breaks throughout the year, and I think we worry about the long-term stability of the structure. In addition, the lights were put up in 1985 and have been there for over 30 years, and for our students who play there, especially on some of those football games, there can be some dark spots on the field. The lights are on wooden poles, and they're not really as high as most complexes would like, not only for football, but for soccer and lacrosse, which is also played at that facility. There's a desire to have much higher lights.
Right. What is the outlook on turf versus grass?
I think that the idea of turf versus grass will be heavily debated in Biddeford. I think there's pluses and minuses of either. One of the considerations that we have is if we make the facility regulation for field hockey, soccer, and lacrosse, there's a small price differential between keeping it grass and moving to turf. Also, many of the other sports that are played on there, such as lacrosse and field hockey, would much rather have that game played on turf. And then there's also the issue of when you have a grass field, you can only use it so many hours a year, versus a turf field can be used much more, which would incorporate youth athletics and adult athletics to have the ability to play on that field.
Okay, and lastly, one of the most important, obviously, how will this renovation be funded?
Well, that will be the tricky part. A lot of this hopefully will come through donations, but donations will not get us the entire way. We've currently raised a little over $300,000 in donations for Waterhouse Field, but we need to begin studying, as we study all the facilities in town, we may have to look at what the taxpayers can afford as part of this process.
My old friend, I recall